Welcome everyone to our celebration of International Volunteer Day. Big welcome, and of course it is actually today, the 5th of December. I'd like to start by saying I'm very proud to have been born on the land of the Ngāi Tahu in Aotearoa, and now very proud to live on the land of the Wurundjeri. I'd like to respectfully acknowledge the traditional owners, the Wurundjeri people, the custodians of this land, and pay my deepest respects to all Aboriginal community elders, past and present, who have resided in the area and have been an integral part of the history of this region. And as I think you all know, today is about all of you. It's a day of celebration and heartfelt thanks for what volunteers do, not just across Yarra Ranges Council, but across all of our communities, and for the wonderful efforts they contribute. I did a little bit of research before today just to get a better understanding of the scale of that. And I think we all know this. But the groups that we have with us here today number nearly 1,500 volunteers who contribute nearly, well, I would say this is conservative, 70,000 hours per year, which equates, if we could ever put a dollar value to it, to a figure of $3.5 million a year. And in fact, conservative estimates for the value of volunteering throughout Victoria last year was in excess of $58 billion. So it makes complete sense that we're pausing today to say thanks, to celebrate you all and have a bit of fun with our great presenter today. And of course, this year has been like none other, and we will continue to say that for a very long time. Every person in all walks of life has felt in some way the tribulations and hardship and impact of COVID-19. However, despite this, we've seen enormous generosity. We've seen some incredible things happen, but we've also been sad to say goodbye to some of our incredible volunteers. And I'd like to say a very heartfelt thank you to Maureen Bond, who passed away this year. Giving time, even in this context, has still happened. And I know we've been all busy staring at screens, but I've seen our volunteers out picking up rubbish, doing conservation projects, doing whatever they can whenever they were allowed to. And it has made me hugely proud, not just to be part of Yarra Ranges Council, but to be part of the incredible community that makes us all choose to live in this part of the world. This year, of course, is a bit different because we're celebrating over Zoom. And to mark the occasion, we've decided to include volunteers from across a number of different service sectors at Council. And this includes aged and social support services with April Patterson as the coordinator. Got volunteers from Bookaburra, the Young Literacy Program, and Michelle Lehman is the coordinator of that program. Volunteers from L2P program, teaching young people how to drive. Steve DeBico is with us today. And volunteers, of course, from our environmental groups, representing over 90 groups across Yarra Ranges, Jen Allison and Sarah Fowler as coordinators. So I do hope you enjoy this different way of celebrating you. We can't give you the hugs that we normally like to, but certainly we're doing that virtually. And of course, I want to say a big thank you for what all of you do every day to enhance the lives of our community and this beautiful place we live in. You really make a huge difference in so many people's lives. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our guest performer and host today, a pioneer of the Australian comedy industry and recipient of an Order of Australia Medal for his services to the performing arts, conservation and sustainability. Please welcome to the stage, woo-hoo, Mr. Rod Quantock.
Hello, where are you? I don't get up the ranges often. Where are you? I'm lost. Hello. Oh, there you are. Oh, hello. There you are. Hello. I'm in the Yarra Ranges. I got lost. Well, good morning and welcome to this very special celebration of International Volunteers Day. I did meet many of you a few years ago when we had a day like this, which was obviously in person, and I had a great opportunity to meet many of you face to face and indeed to interview many representatives of the extraordinary range of groups of people that volunteer up in the ranges. I don't get up there very often, but as a boy, I used to live in Coburg. And if I climbed up onto the roof of my house, which nobody really approved of, I could actually see the Yarra Ranges, and they've long been a distant love of mine. But today is a special day for you, and I'd like to say I'm really thrilled about that. But also, today's a really special day for me, because today is the 56th anniversary of my first ever public performance. It was in the West Coburg Methodist Sunday School Christmas pageant, which I volunteered for. So it was the anniversary of my first ever volunteering. And I had the role of playing the guiding star. It was my job, with a sheet over me entirely with just two little eye holes, to stand up the back and and twinkle over Bethlehem is what I did. I had a little star on my hand, which I made myself from cardboard using a protractor and a ruler. And it was, my mother sewed a little bit of elastic on it so it'd sit there. And I put some sparkle on it, and I glued it on with, what did we glue it on with in those days? On the count of three, 1, 2, 3, clag. We glued it on with clag, and I love clag because clag sounds like what it is. Children go to school these days with yoo-hoo, and what does that mean? But clag sounds like what it is. And when I was a boy, we had a subject in school called craft, where we made our own things. Tell that to children today. They just get a 3D printer and print out a star, but we made our own things, and we made our own Christmas cards. The craft teacher would say to us, we're going to make a Christmas card next week, so bring in an old Christmas card from last year. And we'd bring in an old Christmas card from last year, and then he'd say to it, I want you to cut the picture off the front of the card. And then he'd give us a pair of plastic safety scissors, and I think he would get 2 hours of complete silence as we ground our way through the post-war cardboard, which was mostly lumps of timber, and we'd cut that picture off the front of the card. And then he gave us a piece of foldy over cardboard like that, and he said, now glue that picture on the front. And lo and behold, when we did that, we'd made a Christmas card. How extraordinary is clag? And if you misbehaved in craft, the craft teacher would say to you, Quantock, stand over there. Quantock, poke out your tongue. And he would go over to an industrial-sized jar of clag that big, and he would pull from it a brush the size of a yard broom, and he would paint a stripe of clag down your tongue. And you had to go, thank you, sir. Now, I still need my hit of clag every day, but it's gone from our schools, and that's why young people take drugs. But anyway, I was the guiding star. It was my job just to twinkle over Bethlehem. And in came Mary with her plastic Jesus, and the three wise men who had beach towels on their heads and dressing gowns, because that's how we thought Middle Eastern people dressed in those days. And some poor children had to be sheep and cows and all of those horrible things that should stay in a barnyard. And I just twinkled. And in the middle of it all, I looked out and I saw my parents in the audience, and I went, hello. And I got my first laugh. And that was, for me, the beginning of my career in comedy. I went through stages subsequent to that. I was 6 years old at the time, because I was born in... And I went on from there with this dream of becoming a stand-up comedian. But of course, reality gets in the way. And I went through primary school and I went through high school. I got to year 12. And by year 12, I was very keen on the idea of becoming an architect. Now, architects have to go to university, and as a prerequisite, you need year 12 mathematics. I wasn't very good at maths, but I sat the maths exam and in year 12 and I failed. And I had to go back and repeat year 12 to get the maths right. I failed again the second year, and the third year, my parents got me a tutor, 2 hours a week extra at home, maths, 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 maths. And I hit that third year maths exam with such confidence that it was heartbreaking when I failed. But the fourth time I passed maths, but that year I failed English and had to go back and repeat. But anyway, I got into Melbourne University with this great weight of failure behind me, and I got to the end of third year. Now, architecture is a 6-year course. It's as long as medicine because architects, like doctors, can kill you if they make a mistake. A beam out here, a wall out there, the whole thing collapses and you've lost a whole family. So you've got to be very attentive to these things. But I got to, I got to the end of third year, and that's as far as I got. But the 5 years I had at Melbourne University, getting to the end of year 12, were the happiest years of my life. And from there, I went out, and in 1974, I had my first paid job as a comedian in a little place called the Flying Trapeze Cafe in Brunswick Street, Fitzroy. Now, many of you wouldn't really, well, some would remember. I don't know who you are. I don't know who's watching. You could be 6 months old babies for all I know. But some of you more mature people might know something about the Flying Trapeze Cafe. We ended up opening our own place, which was called the Comedy Cafe. It was a beautiful place, and we always thought we'd miss it after the fire. It was the sort of place where people would ring up and say, "What night are you open?" And we'd say, "What night can you come?" It was very relaxed. But it was from there that I did a show called Bus, and I was just talking to Fiona just prior to this meeting, and I did take Bus to Edinburgh in 1988 as part of the Australian Bicentennial. And Fiona came on the bus in Edinburgh. Isn't it a small world? And Bus was a show where I'd take a group of people who didn't know where they were going, and we'd go and visit people who didn't know we were coming. It was a brilliant idea. It began as everything will, the theme today for me is Christmas. Not volunteering, but it began as a trip to the Myers Christmas windows. People paid me to take them to see the Myers Christmas windows. And we'd march up and down in front of the Myers Christmas windows, and then we'd head off back home. But then one night in January, Myers, without notifying me, dismantled their Christmas windows. And I had to take 45 people who all wore a Groucho Marx nose and spectacle combination. And I'm going to do this because I can. I had, just a moment, I want to show you this. I had, there he is. I had a rubber chook on a stick called Trevor. That's Trevor there. He's made a special appearance here today. And we used to wander around, and because the Myers windows were closed, we decided we'd just have to go to other places. So in time, we went to a police dinner. We went to a budgerigard judging competition. We went to, where did we? Oh, we went all sorts of places. And it was one of the most successful shows I'd ever done. And the joy of that show was getting out off the stage into the public and realizing that most people are decent people. If you read the Herald Sun, you'd be completely and utterly aware that this town is ravaged by crime, by African gangs, by Muslim terrorists, by mad people of all persuasions, but people are generally nice. And this is what you get when you work in the world of volunteers. You meet the finest people in the world. Now, every volunteer I talk to always says they get more out of it than they put into it. So really, what are we celebrating for? You do it for very selfish reasons. But the world of volunteers is a wonderful world. And over the years, I've done a lot of work with different volunteers. I've worked with people who spent so much of their time in the world of mental health, supporting people with mental health problems. I've done the walking bus people. So I really admire what you do, and I feel very badly for you over this very difficult year that we had, but welcome back to the world of volunteering. Now, we've got a very busy day today. We've got a lot to put in. We're going to meet a couple of volunteers online. We're going to celebrate the achievements of those people who spent 5, 10, 15, and I won't tell you how long the longest serving volunteer has been doing it, but when we get there, we'll know. So we're going to begin with, what do I have to do? It's hard to do this. We're going to introduce the Volunteer Coordinators video clip. So when I count to 3, we're going to press the button and we're going to meet some of our volunteers. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Today here in Yarra Ranges and around the world, we're celebrating International Volunteer Day and the end of another year for our programs.
This is an important opportunity for us to say thank you for everything that you do and the amazing impact that each of you have had in the community and the lives of our clients.
As an organisation, we are incredibly lucky and truly grateful to have volunteers of such impressive calibre and generosity supporting each of our programs.
Programs like Meals on Wheels and Social Support, Bookaburra, or L2P, and the environmental volunteers.
Today, we pay tribute to every volunteer with these council programs and every volunteer across the community.
While this hasn't been the year we expected, and we know that many of you might not have been able to volunteer in the traditional sense,
we want you to know how much we value your dedication to each of the programs.
You've been an amazing support, staying involved in whatever way possible, and your enthusiasm to return is commendable.
We are excitedly looking forward to returning to service when it's safe to do so and seeing you all again beyond the screen.
welcome to all the Meals on Wheels and social support volunteers. Our Meals on Wheels program has had to adjust to deliver our meals in not only a COVID-safe way, but also without our volunteers. Thankfully, we had many council staff unable to do their normal work due to closures and program changes, thus being temporarily redeployed to Meals on Wheels drivers. I was fortunate enough to be able to assist with delivering meals and have continued to deliver round 2 in Kilsyth every Friday. And I must say, it's been the highlight of my week. We cannot wait to welcome you back. You truly are the heart and soul of the program, and both our kitchen staff and clients have missed you dearly. Social support, although suspended for many months, has continued to make contact with their clients, speaking with them over the phone and sending them activity packs regularly. To all of our Meals on Wheels and social support volunteers, we thank you. We thank you for your ongoing support of Yarra Ranges' most vulnerable residents and for being so resilient during 2020. Bring on 2021.
I'd like to welcome and acknowledge the Bookaburra volunteers and host services who are joining us today to celebrate International Volunteers Day. Although the Bookaburra Literacy Program has been on hold, the volunteers have remained connected with regular online catch-ups where they've shared with each other new books, songs and activity ideas. With the establishment of the Yarra Ranges Families Facebook page, we've continued to share with families the importance of language and literacy in children's early years. As Dr. Seuss had said, you can find magic everywhere, all you need is a book.
Welcome to the L2P volunteers attending today, and a big thank you to you and all those unable to attend today. The last 12 months have been an interesting and difficult time for L2P. After a cracking start to the year, COVID-19 put a hard stop to our momentum and we had to suspend drives until it was safe to return. Little did we know how long we would have to remain suspended. Even amongst all this hardship, we were still able to persist and had 6 learners get their Ps during restrictions. An amazing feat and achievement for each of the learners and the mentors involved. These learners were able to complete their tests under the hardship clause, and some of them were then able to support their community through their employment in essential services. And while the stats might not have been the same numbers this year, the learners' journey through the support of their L2P volunteer goes much further. Stories of learners and mentors maintaining their connection and supporting each other during the restrictions truly shows the bonds created in the program and the benefits to all participants. L2P volunteers, thank you for being patient and showing true dedication this year.
Welcome to the environmental volunteers across Yarra Ranges Council. It's wonderful to be celebrating International Volunteer Day with you today. 2020 has been a challenging year for everyone, and in particular for environmental volunteers that were not able to get out and enjoy their reserves and bushlands. But having said that, you have all been keeping yourselves busy by learning new skills and staying connected. In the Bushland team, we have hosted over 8 educational webinars in an environmental event series, which has attracted hundreds of volunteers and new community members. We have stayed connected by hosting regular virtual catch-ups with environmental volunteers, which has included the odd fun environmental quiz evening. The learning has continued throughout the year, and we've run a number of online training programs, such as digital storytelling, where our volunteers learned how to create beautiful short films to promote their work, and data recording training, so our volunteers can use mobile phone apps to record sightings of invasive pests as well as native flora. To all the environmental volunteers, we thank you for your passion and dedication to the environment, and thank you for helping us create beautiful natural spaces for everyone to enjoy.
And welcome back. And thank you to all those coordinators and the extraordinary job that they do. And sitting underneath them are the volunteers, well, not literally, of course, but are the volunteers. And we now have the awards for years of service. Now, unfortunately, clearly, we can't present these in person, but each recipient will receive in the mail something. I don't know, it could be a packet of cornflakes for all I care, but you will get something to commemorate this wonderful achievement of yours. So we'll begin with the 5 years service, and let's have a quick round of applause for everybody. Stephen Gibson. Well done, Stephen, for 5 years. Belmani is also a 5-year service winner. Christopher and Dawn Noon, what a lovely couple. I was at the wedding and by gee, the cake was great. And Deborah Wills is also celebrating her 5th year of service as a volunteer. People who've spent 10 years in this business are Brian Flynn, well done, Brian. Maddie Thomas, well done, Maddie. And Riki Vedder, well done to Riki as well. 20 years of service goes to Mel Green and Jenny Stevens. Congratulations to you both and thank you for your work. 25 years of service goes to Diane Campbell. Congratulations, Diane. And now it's getting serious. 40 years of service goes to Dory Goodsward and John Pedler. 40 years. And finally, and this is quite extraordinary, 45 years of service, Fran Henderson. Fran, congratulations. And we have the opportunity now to meet Fran and have a bit of a chat to her. So Fran, are you there?
I'm there,
Hello.
thank you. I am
Hello,
here, Rod.
Fran. How are you?
Very well, thank you, Rod. And
It's lovely to see you.
Thank you. And I love that presentation from the council. It was very good. It's wonderful to see what all volunteers are doing or are able to do when we resume within the council area.
So, Fran, do you get to meet volunteers who work in other areas of council, or are you sort of limited to the kitchen and the...
Not a lot, Rod. We do annually, usually when you have a Christmas function, although you tend to sit with your group, with me, with Meals on Wheels. But you do hear about other people and you see them down the street and they might be doing something. I'm in Muralbark and there's a group out doing something. Of course, we usually see them at the annual Muralbark Festival, Celebrate Muralbark, and there's always a group there. So that's always good to catch up with people. But it's mainly, Rod, the Meals on Wheels people. And we get to know them and we get to know our recipients so well.
Oh, yeah, look, it's a really important thing. My father-in-law lived with us for nearly 3 years after he had a stroke, and Meals on Wheels is a very important part of being able to support him at home. And then we had the council amalgamations and our Meals on Wheels was privatised. Yeah. And so Meals on Wheels became every Wednesday morning, the council rubbish truck would come down our streets and collect all the garbage, and then they'd do a reverse and then they'd throw the garbage back to the people who needed Meals on Wheels. It was very primitive and cruel. But you're an in-house group, you're not a private organisation?
Yes, yes. The meals certainly, we collect them certainly from the kitchens in Nelson Road. with me with the Lilydale Churnside Park area. And this is good. I mean, they're certainly brought in by a company. The meals look delightful. The last time I delivered them, I was thinking, oh, they look so good. And of course, they've been snap frozen. So people put them in the fridge or in the freezer or whatever the case may be.
And Fran, 45 years is quite extraordinary to do anything. Why did you start, Fran?
I don't know. I think I had 2 children at the time. I think one must have been at kinder. And I had my son, who's 46 this year, who was in the car seat, and we went off delivering meals. I must have read something in the local paper, I think, that they needed volunteers. And that's where I started. And I've delivered all over this area of Mooroolbark, Kilsyth, Churnside Park, and now I sort of go up to Yarra Glen, which is wonderful.
And how many days a week do you put in, Fran?
I put in 1 day, Rod, and I'm available if the council needs someone. If the kitchen ring me and say, oh, are you available tomorrow or something, someone's called in sick, no problem, I'll try and fit it in.
So a locum, you're a locum Meals on Wheels.
Yes, you probably would say that, Rod.
Yes, I would say that. Put that on your CV.
Yes.
And so how many meals would you deliver in a day?
Well, it depends. It depends how many are on the roster, the run, or you could have 10 or more. Friday's often a bit busier. Sometimes people get 3 meals to go for over the weekend, and they have them 7 days a week. But no, on the whole, that's about it. And they come beautifully. They're all in these little nice small eskies, and we take the esky to the door and hand the meal to them. Of course, it's changed, Rod, over 45 years. I mean, 45 years ago, you were able to go into people's homes because we didn't have the restrictions then that we do today. And I did all sorts of things like change the loo blue. I hung out the washing. I wrote the Christmas cards. I helped someone dress that couldn't do their underwear up. And that sort of thing. And you became very friendly with these people. And nowadays, whilst we're still friendly with them. Yeah, that's right.
Fixing people's underwear, you'd have to be very friendly with them. So,
yes.
So obviously you build up relationships with the people that you're taking the meals to.
You do, and it's sad when they pass on. And often we don't hear because the council don't hear. Suddenly the meals are cancelled and families don't tell them. But we are appreciative when we hear about someone who has died and family perhaps contact the council to let the volunteers know.
Well, that'd be helpful. Otherwise, you just got a veranda full of eskies piling up and no one to eat them.
That's right. Well, you can't leave them now, of course, Rod. You used to, years ago, you could leave them. Now you can't. If they're not home, they get a note to say you need to ring the council officers or the kitchen for your collection of your meal.
Oh, it's become a fascist state, Fran. What are they doing to you? That's terrible.
I guess for
rise up, Fran.
Hygiene purposes, Rod.
Yes, I'm sure it's all very careful. Yes. Well, look, it's fantastic what you do. That commitment over such a long space of time. Do you now take your grandchildren in the car seat in the back of the car?
Well, considering they're now 22 and 19, no. And the younger one's at university, the other one is working. No, they don't come. And my son has never offered to deliver Meals on Wheels. He'd rather do other things.
So it's not genetic then?
No, it's not. Funny about that.
Oh, what a shame. What a shame. Well, Fran, look, it's lovely to talk to you, and I'm sorry you have to do it in such a technical way, but congratulations on your 45 years of service. And just keep an eye on the mailbox, and you'll receive a very significant recognition of your reward.
Thanks,
and enjoy the rest of the session, and enjoy getting back to work.
Thank you. Thanks, Rod.
Thank you very much, Fran. 45 years of service. You wouldn't read about it, would you?
Thank you.
Now, we're going to, oh, wow. we're going to have some entertainment, ladies and gentlemen. So it's time to get up out of your Jason recliner rocker and put on your dancing shoes, because we're going to have a performance by Grand Baxter. Ladies and gentlemen, Grand Baxter.
Hey everyone, we're Graham Baxter. I'm Ben and this is Dylan.
Hello.
Thanks very much for having us. It's a shame we couldn't be in person this time, but I'm happy to play some tunes for you today. This first song we're going to play is called Now That I'm Done. Today I woke up sober and I feel fine. If every day could start like this, maybe I could pull myself together. Today I woke up knowing what I need to do. The haziness is clearing, finally I can enjoy the view. Night by night, bit by bit, I fell further than I ever had before. Oh, but now that I'm done, I want to redeem all of the crappy things I've done. Oh, now that I'm trying to understand just what went wrong. Oh, today I'm doing stock take, I'm lining up my things. If they don't bring me joy today, maybe they're just taking up space. Night by night, bit by bit, I fell further than I ever had before. Oh, but now that I'm done, I want to redeem all of the crappy things I've done. Oh, now that I'm trying to understand just what went wrong. Oh, all the things I did to you, I never meant to hurt no one. Now it's so clear to me, you're just who I appear to be. Now that I'm done, oh, I never wanna be that way again. Now that I'm done, I want to redeem all of the crappy things I've done. Oh, now that I'm trying to understand just what went wrong. Now that I'm done, I want to redeem. Trying to understand just what went wrong. Yeah, yeah. Thanks very much. This next
That's Grand Baxter, and you would have heard about to say, and the next song, you'll hear the next song very, very soon. That was a bit of a surprise for me with a name like Grand Baxter. I thought I'm going to introduce a 10-piece orchestra, but the music was grand, the volume was grand, and we'll see more of them in a minute. Now we've got to meet another volunteer. Julie Thompson. Hello, Julie Thompson. Julie Thompson's with the Johns Hill Land Care. Julie Thompson, welcome.
Thank you, Rod. Lovely to meet you.
It's lovely to meet you too. And is that an Encyclopedia Britannica behind you there?
Yes, I'm just trying to show a bit of knowledge. It's all held in the books, though.
Yes, I've got a set myself. I used to be Captain Snooze, you might remember.
Yes, yeah.
And I was really famous. And I went to the Royal Melbourne Show. This is probably 25, 30 years ago.
Yeah, only yesterday.
Yes, that's right, only yesterday. And I was walking along and this man came up to me, sort of tapped me on the shoulder and he said, "Hello, Rod." And I didn't recognize him. And I thought, well, who are you? Did we meet at a funeral? Who are? Anyway, he got very chatty and very personal. And we're walking along, walk. And we ended up at the Encyclopedia Britannica stand in the Royal Hall. And he sold me a set of Encyclopedia Britannica. I've never opened them, Fran, but the important thing is you don't have to. The knowledge just seeps out. It just seeps out. Because, you know, I've never opened them, but I know that the leopard is the fastest land mammal. I've never read that or heard it anywhere. It just seeps out, Fran. It seeps out. So, Fran, leaving me aside, how long have you been involved as a volunteer?
Well, I was just thinking about that. About nearly 20 years. So my daughter was 2 when I first came to an event. Mm-hmm. So she's 21. So yes, nearly 20 years.
So in a year or so, you'll get your 20-year certificate.
Oh, it could do. Yes.
Yes. The pandemic's over, so you'll probably get it in person from the mayor. What a lucky woman you are.
Oh, wow. That'd be exciting. Yeah.
It would be. So she's a very nice mayor. Now, could I ask you why you started?
I think the reason why I started in land care is I like to understand what's actually around me. So I like wherever I live, whether it be in the city or the country, I like to understand what makes the place tick. So I thought, oh, well, I'll go and find out and meet some new people and find out about the environment that I live in. So, and I've been more and more involved over the years. And I love it. I've met some wonderful people and we have great social time, drink lots of coffee and have chocolate brownies, bit of champagne here and there. So it's, it's
hardly got time to do the weeding, have you?
No, well, that's right.
Look, fill me in because, look, clearly you can see I'm in the middle of the beautiful rainforest of the Dandenongs here. But where's Johns Hill?
Johns Hill is actually between Callista, Emerald and Menzies Creek. So there's actually a hill and it's not very spectacular, but it is. And it means that you can go up and visit it. There's a trig point up there and survey the scene. So so we like to call it Johns Hill and Emerald. So our work is mainly around Emerald and Menzies Creek and Avensley and all around.
So what have you noticed over those almost 20 years that you've been working up there as an environmental volunteer? Is it getting bigger or worse?
Well, there's been a lot more controlled burns that they're burning. Spreading of weeds, but I've also been involved with seed collecting. So I've gone in and discovered all sorts of plants. I don't know all the names of them, and I forget when I do. But and I've met some wonderful people. And I might go out seed collecting, and then I'll bump into a bird watcher or somebody else that's out in the bush just enjoying and looking at the bush and yeah, no, it's wonderful. So you sort of look at each other and you go, what are you doing? And you go, oh, I'm seed collecting. And yeah, so it's really sweet. Yeah.
And you obviously you get a deep attachment to the area that you're working in. I mean,
Yeah.
you look at it in much more detail than somebody just walking down a
Yeah.
forest path.
Yes.
And so, I mean, do you have a sense of, I shouldn't say ownership, but do you find this place very special to you?
Oh, it is, particularly Butterfield Reserve. It's a wonderful place. It must have been from ancient times before white settlements. That it must have been a very, very special interconnection, because there's a lovely stream, Warriallic Creek, that goes past, and it feels as though it's special. So yeah.
Well, look, Julie, thank you very much for looking after it. Thank you so much for putting so many years into it. Thanks for, keeping your strength up with champagne and coffee and brownies. Yes, you're looking well fed. You're looking very happy.
Yeah.
So good on you. And again, we apologise for not being able to do this in person with you, but it's been a delight to talk to you. And thank you very, very much for the work that you and your group do to keep the Dandenongs as beautiful as they are.
Oh, well, that's lovely. And we've really enjoyed working with Shire of Yarra Rangers. It's been a great support. Yeah.
Yeah, they are good, aren't they?
Yeah.
They value, well, most councils, I'm sure all councils value their volunteers, but it's such a diverse range of calls you get up there volunteering. So you're a very precious part of the community, and we thank you. So enjoy the rest of the day. Have a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you for the awards next year.
Okay, Rod. Lovely to meet you too.
Very nice to meet you, Julie. Thank you very, very much.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Once more. Bye. See you later.
Okay.
Come on, get out the way, Julie. Get out.
Oh, sorry, I've got to go.
Yeah, you've gone. Thank you, Julie. And look, this is what Julie is dedicating her life to, this beautiful natural environment here. Now, we're going to meet Gran Baxter again. So we're going to have a little break here again. If you didn't dance the first time, here's your chance to dance again. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our Zoom meeting, Gran Baxter.
Thanks very much. This next song is called Black Dog.
Oh,
enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks so much. I saw him in the mirror. He was curled up on the couch. I saw him in your eyes when you said you were leaving me behind. You jumped up in my car, looking in the rear view, nuzzling my arms. We passed the place you said goodbye. Oh, I tried to let go and move on. I don't know why Black Dog follows me wherever I go, but I can't seem to let him go. He wakes me in the morning, I hear his name calling, and I'm just trying to get by. Oh, I'm just trying to get by. Followed up the street, scratching at the door. He was at the park when you said you couldn't take me anymore. He was by my side when the rain came down. He was in the car when I tried It's so hard to call you back. Oh, I tried to let go and move on. I don't know why the black dot follows me wherever I go, and I can't seem to let him go. He wakes me in the morning, I hear his name calling, and I'm just trying to get by. Oh, I'm just trying to get by. Black dog follows me wherever I go, and I can't seem to let him go. He wakes me in the morning, I hear his name calling, and I'm just trying to get by. Oh, the black dog follows me wherever I go, and I can't seem to let him go. He wakes me in the morning, I hear his name calling, and I'm just trying to get by. Oh, I'm just trying to get by. I'm just trying to get by.
Well, thank you again to Grant Baxter. I wish I could give you their booking details so you can get them to your next party, but I haven't got those. Ring the council, they'll tell you. Well, look, that wraps up this section of the event. Again, thank you to all those volunteers. It's just extraordinary what you do, and I feel very guilty that I don't do more. What was I going to say? Oh, it's early in the morning. It's very difficult for me. So thank you to the people who were kind enough to be interviewed. Thank you to all those volunteer coordinators who I've been chafing at the bit to get back to work, and I feel very happy for them and you that all this is over and that you can move on. So hopefully we can meet again next year in person, and we can make this an event that will be very, very memorable. Today's being recorded, so if you would like to pass on a link to other people to watch it who weren't with us today, then feel free to do that. So very, very good luck to you all. Have a very, very Merry Christmas. And once again, a sincere thank you for the extraordinary work you do in keeping our community vibrant, our environment beautiful, and your citizens and fellow residents fed. That's really important. The fed bit's really important. And so I'm going to hand you back now to April Patterson. There's April sitting in her backyard. Hello, April. How are you getting on?
I am doing well, thank you. Well, I was getting a little blowy in the backyard here. I thought I was going to...
I noticed
it's getting a bit wild now.
Yes, it's getting a bit wild where I am too. But thanks, April.
Thank you.
Thank you to all the coordinators for the great job you do. And I think you've got a few closing words, have you not?
I do. Thank you very much. Thank you to you, Rod. You've been an absolutely delightful host, and we appreciate
enjoyed it. It's been
coming
fun.
along today. Okay, so I've just got a few words, and then there's a little bit of a signing off video that I'll share with you as well. So as some of you may be aware, we sadly lost a member of our Meals on Wheels family this year, Margaret Jenkins, a food service officer at Lilydale Kitchen. She, for those of you who work with Margaret, you would know she was extremely well organised, and she just went above and beyond for all of the volunteers and the other staff. Margaret will be sadly missed, and we're deeply saddened by her passing. Now, on a lighter note, Rod mentioned earlier that one of our volunteers, 40 years, was Dory Goodsward. And after 40 fabulous years, Dory and the team at a group of volunteers from the Christian Reformed Church in Mount Evelyn have decided to hang up the boots. So we'd like to say a big thank you to Dory, Kobe, Elizabeth, Carol, Leah, and Frank and Ali 40 years of volunteering is just extraordinary, and their contribution to the community is just so extreme. We thank them very, very much. So it's sad to see them go. Now, I'd like to say a big thanks to Fran and Julie for their amazing volunteer interviews with Rod. We really appreciate you coming along today and doing those for us. It's been quite insightful. And for all of our volunteers, we just want to thank you for your commitment and dedication to volunteering. From all of us at Yarra Ranges Council, we wish you a very Merry Christmas, and we can't wait to see you in 2021. So to see us out, we have 2 videos. One of them is a short video interview with some of our volunteers from across the volunteering programs. So that's really great. And then finally, a little thank you from us at Yarra Ranges. So enjoy the last probably 10 minutes. And as I said, we wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you. Should be a video coming soon. Or not. Sorry, we've got a little bit of a glitch.
That's all right, April. April, I'll interview you while we're waiting, okay?
Okay.
So how long have you been with the council?
I've actually been in council for 9 years.
Okay.
Been in this volunteer coordinating role for 1.5 years.
And what were you doing prior to that?
Oh, I was actually in an innovation role, actually. So it was a role that was for Yarra Ranges staff and promoting innovation projects and, you know, creating new ideas and processes to improve the way we do things. So it was quite an exciting role.
And what's the better job?
This one, definitely.
Yeah. Oh, okay, good. Yeah, I hoped you'd say that. Could have been embarrassing if you didn't.
Sorry, I think Andrew's just sent me a quick text. Hold on, he's just looking up this video.
Okay.
Yeah, I think because this role, my customer is external. So for the first time in my career at Yarra Ranges, I deal with the volunteers and all of our seniors groups and things. So it's just much more enjoyable and rewarding.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, look, it's nice to meet your constituents, if you put it that way.
Absolutely.
And I know I've spent a lot of time up in the ranges with the group fighting the McDonald's. And so I've met hundreds of people up there who are so committed to the ranges and the life that it provides them. It's a wonderful community.
It is, absolutely, it is.
Yeah. I'm in the city of Yarra, which I think is the most densely populated municipality in Australia. And it's such a car-based community, such a mixture of people that, yes, you don't really get a sense of the whole wide community that you're in. But it's a lovely place to live. And when I retire, I won't be going to the ranges. I think I'll go, where will I retire? I don't think I'll retire. I'll leave it at that.
I think we are good to go with the video. Thank you.
All right, here we go.
Thanks,
5,
Rod.
4, 3, 2, 1, enjoy.
I've enjoyed most of the time I've spent with the children. And Pamela and I run a interactive program, which means we're very involved in the stories and so are the children. And to watch the delight they have, I get as much enjoyment out of the program as they do. I never realised just how important reading was to me. I've loved books all my life, I've read all my life, but when we went into lockdown, no library, I'd read all the books that I'd borrowed. I went through my library, which is rather extensive, my own one, read every book, and then I just had to stare at the walls. 2021 should be a completely different year. I'm looking forward to be able to get out with your friends, to resume something like your normal Australian way of life, which includes me volunteering and working with the children.
G'day, I'm Brian and I'm the volunteer manager of the Yarra Ranges Men's Health Project, which is simply aiming to improve the health and well-being of men and boys in our municipality. I'm also recently become a volunteer with Meals on Wheels just before it got suspended due to the COVID thing, and I'm really looking forward to getting back into that program as well. I've done a lot of volunteering throughout most of my life, and I just enjoy helping other people to help themselves. I don't see myself as there to do it for them, although I have done a bit of that recently, but basically it's helping people to discover things within themselves to improve their health and well-being, their lives, their relationships with their partners and families, and their contributions to their communities. I've learnt during lockdown a very important message that there is a gross over-reliance starting to take place on digital stuff, and about 20% of the people, the older folks that I have to do with in my groups and in my communications are not even online, or in some cases don't even have mobile phones. Many of them are among the least health literate. They have the most difficulty coping with accessing health services and knowing how to improve their lives. And I think, and I will continue to advocate, that those people need to be catered for. I wished I knew how much fun it was, or how enjoyable, I don't know whether fun's the right word, but it is fun. If you're enjoying it, it's fun to do the Meals on Wheels work. Just providing a simple service to people, different people each time perhaps, and maybe once a week. It's really good, and as I live alone, so I'm at risk of isolation, it means that I do get to meet people periodically, people who are friendly and who are obviously, in most cases, show gratitude for the service I'm providing. I'm looking forward to as much normalisation as possible. We were not able to do Zoom with any of our project activities simply because the guys didn't want to do it or couldn't do it. And as from the 3rd of December, we're starting to resume our groups. We've already worked out how to do that quite safely using sanitation and distancing and so on. And so I'm looking forward, and I know the guys are too, to bringing those programs back, the men's social discussion program, the film, the monthly film group, and Meandering Mates, where we walk with men who've got limited walking ability. And I've actually got a bit of money from council to cover travelling to go and try and take those ideas around the municipality, because they're all very simple to run, and they can do so much good.
What I've enjoyed most about my volunteering experience is being immersed in nature with like-minded people. I get just such pleasure in being under the trees, listening to the birds, finding insects, and just being surrounded by greenery. I've learnt that lockdown can be very hard. It's part of the volunteering I've enjoyed most is interacting with other people out, perhaps planting, or doing weed-a-thons. And to not have that social interaction has been difficult. I've really missed it. But we've also become much better with using our technology to hold meetings. And I found amazingly people from quite further afield are more than happy to join us via that platform, because they can't always get out to where we are doing work on site. What I'm most looking forward to in 2021 is getting out in the field, getting my hands dirty, and meeting up with my friends from the Landcare and other environmental groups movement. We've had a lot that we haven't been able to do this year, so we've got a little bit to catch up on, but everything's achievable, and it's just great when we can be out there doing it together.
What have I enjoyed most about the volunteering experience with L2P? Well, to see the progress that the learners make. A lot of the learners that I've got, I get them at the stage where they've got an hour or two. They're basically struggling to turn a corner smoothly without hitting the gutter. And then as things progress, eventually we end up in the city at night doing hook turns. Now, to know that I've been part of that is just absolutely sensational. And to know that that person will be a very, very safe driver. And if I happen to be driving the other way, I'd prefer that they're one of the people coming towards me. What have I learnt during lockdown? well, it's been pretty tough. On the personal side, I've missed seeing some of my kids and my grandkids, and also missed my learners, because they do become a part of your life. They're only part of your life for a year or 18 months or 2 years, depending how long you've got them for, but they are certainly a very important part of your life. So, yes, I've missed my kids, my grandkids, and my learners. What did I wish I knew when I started volunteering? I wish I'd known about the L2P program earlier. We just sort of found out by accident. My wife just happened to be reading the local rag and she saw it. And being retired, I was in the situation where I wanted to put back, and I do enjoy teaching. I've never been a teacher officially, but I do enjoy teaching. So I wish I'd known about the program a couple of years earlier, and I would have got the enjoyment and the satisfaction 2 more years of it, pretty much. What am I looking forward to most in 2021? Well, on the non-L2P side, I'm really looking forward to getting in the motorhome with my good wife, parking by a river, taking some drone footage, drinking a couple of glasses of nice red wine while we watch the sunset holding hands. On the L2P side, I'm really looking forward to getting into the left-hand seat and seeing a few eyes light up and dramatic improvement in driving safety happening from the learners.
The best thing I've learnt with the L2P program is working with young people and also getting younger drivers who start with 0 hours to the 120. It's a real buzz to see them getting their licence. I've learnt during lockdown that I'm a lousy gardener, and there's a big strain on a marriage, which is still lasting, so that's okay. The thing I wish I had have known when I started volunteering in L2P is that I haven't got a brake pedal on my side of the car, and that was a bit of a shock to begin with, but you learn to live with it. Next year, I'm really hoping that we can sort of get back to normal with driving, getting back to the school and taking the young kids back on that track to get their licence.
Oh, there we go. Hello again. Well, extraordinary people. If you're viewing this and you're not a volunteer, I think you've seen in meeting the people we've just met, what they get out of it, what joy it brings them. The sense of achievement is quite remarkable. And I think it's a lesson in what the world can offer you if you reach out and get involved in these programs. Now, we've got one last video, which is, what is it? Oh, we're going to have a look at some pictures. I think we're going to have a look at some pictures. I'm not sure whether they're ready to go yet because this is all remote and I'm just getting, no, we haven't got a message to say we're ready. So I thought we'd end my part of this session with a quick round of jingle bells. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Jingle. You just cut me off when the video is ready. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh. What a shame. Well, there we go. I think that brings to an end this International Volunteers Day event brought to you by the Yarra Rangers. As I said many times, and other people have said, we look forward to meeting you in person.